thank you very much for agreeing to come and speak to us on the Business Worth and Mindset podcast. So we are just all about, capturing inspirational stories of, people like yourself who done pretty much well in business, so that you can inspire others to also give them the hope and the belief that, if Stephanie has achieved so much, maybe there is hope for us as well. So, most of the time we just tend to just capture your story as a journey, pretty much. If you take us from the beginning, your journey, maybe growing up, siblings, school, how you came to entrepreneurship, and then we within that we get to talk about the challenges, the successes, the lessons, and everything else in your journey, as your story. And we find that people tend to relate to that, and they can relate it to their story, and then pick up the inspiration within that as well. So just a normal sort of general chat as we unpick your journey. Does that sound all right for you?
Yeah, that sounds amazing. That's one of the things that I love about your podcast. When I listen as a listener, you really get to know people.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you get to understand, what's driving people, the journeys they've been through, and also what they've had to learn, through that, and also what other people can actually get inspired by as well. So I think stories, make for good inspiration for people. So take us through your journey, from the beginning. How did we get here, and what has been the journey pretty much?
Alex, it's been, I'm sure people say this all the time, it's been a bit of a roller coaster and a bit surprising, but I'll introduce myself as to what I do now, and then we can go back in time. So I'm Stephanie Taylor. I'm a property investor. I invest with my sister Nikki, and we invest in buying multi-unit blocks and converting commercial property into multi-unit blocks. Multi-unit blocks is basically a fancy word for blocks of flats, usually on one title, and they're usually conversions, not purpose-built blocks of flats.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
The ones that we own are between 4 and 12 units, and but we're looking to obviously scale up on those, but it's been fun. So that's the property investment side of things. As well as that, I'm co-founder of HMO Heaven, an award-winning property management and development company with my sister again, and we are also co-founders of Rent to Rent Success, where we help other people get started in property with little money using the rent to rent strategy. And we love that business. Through that business, we've inspired thousands of people to get started in property. We're hosts of the Rent to Rent Success podcast, a bit like yourself. We have a podcast, and we've published a best-selling book which has over 165-star reviews on Amazon.
Wow, brilliant.
What I'm passionate about is, you'll hear from my story, is that for many decades I really struggled financially in lots of other ways as well. And what I'm passionate about now is sharing with people that, especially the people who think that they can't get started in property or investing, is I want to rip up the old school property rule book and say to people, yes, you can get started in property. You can create the freedom in your life you want. You can live a life the way you want to and live it on your terms. So that's really who I am today.
Brilliant.
And so going back, you said, to growing up, and I have one sister who I'm now in business with, but we grew up together. My dad was in the army, the British Army, and we moved around a bit in Europe, in Germany, and then we settled in Birmingham in England, and that's where we grew up. That's where we went to school and grew up, and I think, happy childhood. Although my parents got divorced when I was 11. So that was a bit sad, and that changed things for us a little bit.
Yeah.
But what really changed my trajectory was that I had my son Alex when I was 18, and that really changed the direction that my life was going to go. And I wasn't very confident. Some people have just got that little bit of sass, and even though they might not have the qualifications and so on, they might be able to get into places and get better paying jobs. I was kind of a bit timid, and I wasn't really like that. And so I didn't have that bit of sass. And so when I had Alex, I had the idea that I would carry on working, but my job was quite low paid. And I would drop him off at the nursery 6 a.m. It was winter. And he's born at the end of August. But, a few months later when I went back to work, it was in the winter. And so he'd get up and it would be cold and dark, drop him off, all wrapped up. And then 6 p.m, dark again, picking him up to come back. And he just didn't seem very happy at the nursery. Most of the majority of my wages, which was quite low, was going on this private nursery. And I just started to question it. He seemed so unhappy there, and I'm not really seeing him hardly at all. And so one particular exchange with the nursery just made me realize, or just gave me that feeling they don't care about him. And it wasn't that they were bad people or anything, they were just doing their job, but it wasn't with care. And I just decided to not to work and to claim benefits and look after him myself at home until he went to school. And that again brought more, shame, humiliation. You used to go to queue up every fortnight in the post office with the port, it was called at the time, to collect your money in cash, £94 every fortnight. And really it was a juggle between the pennies. And one of the most stressful things was going to the supermarket, because when they move things around at the supermarket, they've always done that, but they also change the price of things as well quite regularly. But it was very important to me to know the exact price. I used to go in there with my calculator, because it was before smartphones. So I used to just make sure that everything added up before I went to the till, because my worst nightmare was to get to the till and then having to put things back because I can't afford everything that I've bought, and people looking at me, and me just wanting the whole ground to just open up and swallow me up, because literally I was budgeting to the penny.
Wow. You see, that's the thing I love about these stories, because you would know that your story is probably not unique. There are a lot of people facing similar things that you had gone through, and that's a lot of challenge. But somehow you managed to pick yourself from there to where you are now. So successful, which actually inspires people to say, actually, it is possible. Just like you say, people can actually do that. But if we pick it up from there, what are the things that then led you to start changing, and then maybe pick up there? Then what were the next stages then? That sort of things that happened to actually take you into following a different path, into up to and including getting to be an entrepreneur and investing in property, for example.
Well, it was a long and winding road, Alex, and I didn't go right from that girl at 19. I know some people do things very young in very adverse situations, but mine was a more gradual step-by-step journey. So I had little goals. I could never have imagined where we are today with a multi-million-pound property portfolio and several businesses. It just would have been beyond my comprehension. I just wouldn't have believed that I had the capacity to do anything like that. But I did believe that I could do something, and I did want to do something. And so while I was at home looking after Alex, I signed up for the Open University. And they do back in the day, it was correspondence university. So it was all through the post. So you would receive your workbooks, what they called, your school books, through the post. And videos as well, because you used to put the videos to watch on television, or there was some television programs that were for the courses that came on the actual television. But it was so fun. And then there were some points in time where you would go weekly to a local college or university to meet up with other people studying locally with the university. And that really gave me a lot of confidence, because I was good at writing essays, and I enjoyed it, and I was getting these really good marks on the essays, and I just wait by. Back in the day, you used to write them out longhand, write all the in handwriting, and then wait for it to come back. And the tutor, there was a top form where they would put the mark and the grading, and they would put all of the comments, and it would be like, sometimes it would be a whole A4 page of comments all written longhand. And I just used to live for these moments where the feedback came back, and whether you just handed it in or whether you just put some thoughts together. I just enjoyed it so much, and it gave me a lot of confidence. And I got to enjoy also being home with my son. He was such a happy baby, just such an easy, lovely, sociable boy, perfect baby that I could have had, and also have this thing on the side that was helping me keep my, grow my brain and feel like even more was possible, because look, people are saying that you're good at this.
You're good. Wow, brilliant. Okay, all right. So, and then you finished that, and what happened after that then?
Well, I went to university full time when Alex went to school and finished off, and there were a lot of different jobs. But basically, Alex, to skip forward, I found my feet. I started to become more confident in work. I did some other degrees as well, and postgraduate degrees. I was invited to do a PhD.
Wow.
That was a big moment, because I was living in Birmingham. And I had decided, Alex was 9 by this stage, and I'd had some, reasonable jobs, and I was doing okay, but I just thought living in a different place would open things up so much. I felt really in a rut in Birmingham, and I thought maybe it's not the best area to bring up Alex. And I was looking at other opportunities, and I thought, it just came to me one day, you know what, you could get a job anywhere else in the country and just have the same experience, but in a different place. And I thought that was the answer. And I started looking for jobs all over, but the one that changed it was in Edinburgh. And I'd heard about Edinburgh because we all have heard of the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. I'd never been to Edinburgh, but I'd heard it was a very progressive country, lots of opportunity, very beautiful. I'd heard Scotland was progressive, and not Edinburgh in particular was progressive, but Scotland as a whole is quite progressive in its politics. And I thought that this could be a great place for Alex to bring up and to work. And I applied for a job as it was a research fellowship. It was. And it was between the University of Edinburgh and the University of Glasgow. And in the thing, it was in the job description, it was detailing all about what this project was about and what kind of experience they wanted you to have. Now, my experience, I had a little bit of experience, not a huge amount, and I thought I was being a bit ambitious actually applying for this job. But I thought, people say, believe bigger, go for it, try things out, test it. And I thought, I'll apply. And back in the day, it was all on paper. You had to send off to get the application form, which came hard copy, and you had to fill it all out on paper. And so all of the applications took a bleep long time. Anyway, I got an interview for this job, and I went up to Edinburgh, and I was just blown away as I came out of the I nearly said New Street Station, but that's the Birmingham train station. But as I came out of Waverley, the train station in Edinburgh, and I looked up, and there were these beautiful buildings, and I was on the Mand, it's on a big hill, and I just thought, wow, this place is beautiful. And I just got that feeling, this is it. This is the place. And what happened the following day when I got to the interview was I walked across the meadows, and there were trees in blossom. It's a grass area. In the distance, you can see the big hills around Edinburgh, Arthur's Seat. And so it was a beautiful day. People were outside, students were sitting out, playing ball and walking, talking, all of the things, camping out, And there were paths across this green area, and each path was lined with blossom trees. So you're just walking through this blossom tree, looking out across the greenery of the meadows up towards the hills. And I just thought, this place is stunning. And people have been telling me it's just cold and grey and horrible in Edinburgh. And it was May, and it was glorious. And I just thought, these people don't know what they were talking about. This place is beautiful. It's stunning. So I went across to the interview, and I'm on a high, and I arrived there, and it's a big table with 5 people behind, and there's me sitting there like a rabbit in the headlights, thinking that I'm lucky really to even be in the room with them. And they were so lovely, the way that they asked the questions and so on. They really helped me to bring out, I thought, the best of myself. I left feeling that I couldn't have done any better with the knowledge that I had. I felt that I'd given it my best shot with my capabilities at the time. And I went back, and before the end of it, they kept asking me. It was Professor Michael Adler, he was the chair of this panel, and he said to me, where are you going to be tomorrow? Because this was before the days of mobile phones. So you had to know which phone number you're going to be on. So I explained I would be at the B&B, and then I would be going home. There was or most people did not have a mobile phone in those days either. It sounds like it's in the dark ages. But I think this is only about 98, 99, that sort of time. And I did get a mobile phone. I was a late adopter. I did get a mobile phone in 2000 when I moved to Edinburgh, just so that the school would be able to get in contact with me. But at this point, most people didn't have a mobile phone. I didn't have one, and most people didn't have one. And he was asking me where I'd been. And I thought, oh my God, I can't believe, Stephanie, that you've even got this job. I cannot believe it. Anyway, I could not wait to get home. I was staying over that night, and the following day I went home and I was looking at my answering machine, and I was just looking to see, have I done it? Have I got it? And I was looking at the answer machine. There was no messages, and then there was no messages, and there was no messages. There was no messages. Anyway, 2 weeks later, I got a letter, and the letter was a page and a half of A4 long, and it said, basically, we thought you were amazing, and it even detailed all of the reasons why they thought I was great and a good fit. It then went on to say that somebody else who'd already done their PhD at the University of Edinburgh, so was well known to them and had more research experience than I did, they had given it to them instead. So, but they would like to offer me an opportunity to do a master's degree with them and then a PhD with them. I already had a master's degree in Birmingham. And so that was what really opened the door to me moving to Edinburgh. And that was a pivotal point, really. It was great for Alex. He went to a great school, lovely friends, and it was just pivotal in my confidence, my career, and so on. And I would have just carried on that trajectory. But I'll just get on to how I got into property.
Yeah, sure.
The short version.